Welcome to This On Season 5, Episode 24, where we watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And this is episode 200!
Yeah.
I'm Chris Lorenz. People, this is episode 200. You can't have this kind of silence.
I believe we have Rob up next.
Robert Kitts.
Noah Singer.
This is Brian.
This is Max.
I'm Harrison.
I'm Kardashian.
Welcome. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Good episode 200. We do a different reality show each week where we watch one episode and we kind of go beat it to death with minutia, finding out if it's good, bad, indifferent, or needs to be in a dumpster. All right, Rob, tell us what show we watched this week.
We watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians. This is the current show description. Even though things are changing for the Kardashian family in ways they never expected, they are determined to remember that family always comes first. With their focus on motherhood, family, and expanding empires, the Kardashians are closer than ever and prove that family outshines everything else. That's Keeping Up with the Kardashians on E!
I wasn't expecting a Fast and Furious type of vibe to come through in that show description.
Kim loves Corona, Noah.
Really, family first.
All about family.
Yeah, so we didn't watch anything about Corona. It was them on vacation in Bora Bora. And I got two words for you. It was Bora Bora.
What?
Chris, I disagree about no Corona. They found their beach. What could be more Corona than that?
That's fair. Yeah, so, all right, Rob, introduce all the people in this episode and we'll go through their stupid Bora Bora vacation.
Yeah, so there's a lot of Kardashians. There's too many Kardashians. And we're doing for episode 200 that this is a reality show empire that we haven't done any before. I wonder why, because this show is so good.
Some may say we have not kept up.
We have not kept up
with the Kardashians.
We got it.
We got it. So there's the three original sisters of Kim, Courtney, and Khloe, and their mom Kris, and their brother Rob. That's the original Kardashians. Those are the only ones with the last name Kardashian. Then there's Kris's new husband, Bruce Jenner. At least as of this episode, he is Bruce Jenner. We can get into that later. And then Bruce and Kris have a few kids, Kylie and Kendall, and their last name is Jenner. And then there's a couple man friends in this episode. Chris Humphries was an NBA player who's dating Kim, and Scott Disick, who I don't think is married to Courtney, but he's their baby daddy, and they have a 3-year-old.
Wait, you mentioned more Kardashians than what were in this episode.
Kylie and Kendall were in the episode very briefly. They didn't, okay. I don't know if they had any lines, but they were there.
How? Okay, I believe you. Yeah. So what? Kim is the main one, right?
Oh yeah.
She's the leader of this whole crew.
She kicked it all off with the sex tape. That's how it all got started.
With whom?
I don't know.
Who is the guy?
It was some rapper, I think.
Noah, go to the corner. Find this out.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a rapper. I want to say Chris Brown, but I don't think that's right.
But I mean, I feel like you could say that sort of the deceased father Kardashian kicked this all off by being a celebrity of his own sort.
Kicked it off by being friends with OJ.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Who played him in what was that TV show?
It was the People versus OJ Simpson, and it was David Schwimmer who earned a place in my heart the way he impassionately said "juice" over and over again.
Highly recommended show. Very good.
Oh yeah, that was a great show.
Very good.
So the rapper is Ray J. That was the sex tape.
Yeah, I do remember this happening at some point. Clearly, this was before 2011 because this reality show episode was in 2011.
Question: was the guy that she had the sex tape with the guy that she was married to for a second when she was 19?
No. She was married to some guy, Damon Thomas, who's a songwriter.
Got it.
Yeah. So I don't know what happens first. The initial, we're just gonna go into minor minutia right now. So like, we're just go straight to the questions. There's no like through line that we give a fuck about in this episode. Like, doesn't matter. My initial thing starts with the initial part of this episode.
So people are not willing to interrupt Chris, but people disagree with you, Chris. There are
You think
clearly
so?
plot
You
points.
think there's a
that
good
you
through
just-
line?
There are multiple storylines that happen in this episode. There's things that happen. We got the whole. Is that guy's name Scott?
Yeah.
Scott.
Yeah.
We got the whole storyline with Scott.
What
You know-
storyline?
We don't really have the backstory on this, but for some reason, Scott is forbidden from drinking by Courtney, and just at various times throughout the episode, it's basically him hanging out with
Rob.
Bob. I'm not sure. Sometimes he calls him Rob, sometimes he calls him Bob. I'm not sure what's happening, but they're hanging out a lot. And this guy's basically hanging out with this guy as an excuse to drink a whole bunch. So there's kind of this whole storyline about that and how he's drinking a lot. And then they were like teasing.
Okay, want to discuss that storyline? No one cares.
Well, there's two other
Chris,
storylines.
time out. If you're going to just say no one cares every 30 seconds, this is going to be a terrible pod. You got to stop. That's the last one.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
fine.
There were three storylines. So that was one of them. There was another one where it's the 20-year wedding anniversary for Kris Jenner and Mrs. Kardashian.
Bruce Jenner.
Bruce Jenner, Kris Kardashian. Thank you. That's what I was blanking. I'm like, wait. And then the third storyline is in between Kim Kardashian and Kris Humphries in their escalating relationship.
You forgot the most important storyline. Well, I guess it kind of fits in with the Kris. When Kris throws Kim into the water and she loses the $70K diamond earring, but then mysteriously finds it in the bottom of the ocean, which seems very suspect.
I mean, it was a pretty big diamond.
And that water was crystal clear.
Yeah. I mean, there's a percentage possibility that happened, but I wouldn't put a number to it. You guys, everyone has their own idea. What the
Here's the most baffling thing to me. After she gets thrown in the water by Kris Humphries and loses the $75,000 earring and miraculously finds it and is so happy, throughout the other parts of the episode, she continues to wear the $70,000 earrings while she's swimming. And it's like there's no lesson learned here.
Oh my god.
She figured out that she has insurance. That's what it's for.
I have a question about the insurance. Does getting insurance on an earring cause you just losing it because you're an idiot?
No,
you
definitely
can
not.
pay for that. I'm sure you can. It's just not going to be cheap.
I guess if you pay enough, you could have a policy where you could just throw your earring out the sunroof and it's like good to go. But
that's I'm sure you could pay for that. Whether you're paying for like 3 or 4 of those like a year, because you're paying for it, it's the safety.
So
Once the deductible's covered, though.
This is also a good time to mention. So Emmy and Courtney Sink, not Kourtney Kardashian, who have been on this pod before, are at least used to be big fans of the show to watch all the time. And so I've seen a decent amount of episodes which just kind of on TV while I was just in the room and doing stuff. And Courtney recommended this episode. She finds the incident with the earring and the whole thing of how Kim acts in Bora Bora is a perfect encapsulation of this show, of just being this rich person who's just out of touch with anything reasonable of what's going on. And so you're wearing these fancy diamond earrings in the water, then you lose your mind because you lose it, even though you got tons of money and it doesn't matter. And then you're mad at your boyfriend who you say you're so in love with because he's being playful with you. And it's that sums up the show perfectly.
I was thinking when we were watching it, why this episode? Because we didn't really know why. We just knew this was a good one. And so I was expecting oh man, it's the second to last episode of the season. There's going to be a big climax at the end. And it actually never came. But I was waiting for that big thing to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely didn't really think about it that much, but the beginning of the episode was good. Like, I liked the beginning was somewhat interesting. This like diamond earring thing, and you're right, Rob. I mean, I think the percentage points go a little lower. The fact that she keeps wearing these, was she wearing them on the boat when they went to like swim with the sharks or whatever?
I'm not sure about that, but there's definitely at least one other swimming scene where she was wearing them.
Does she have a fake diamond that looks exactly the same that she can swap out when she's being more risky with what she's doing?
That'd be the smart move.
That'd be a smart move.
Yeah, like
And the
are you
reality
recording
is-
this thing?
What's
Sorry,
up,
go on,
Brian?
Noah. Sorry, go on.
Now the reality is, like, I think the Kardashians are geniuses. Like, however they're portraying on the show, they literally have taken nothing. Like, there's nothing of value and created a multi-billion-dollar empire. Like, that is no easy feat.
I'm just like, I'm going to take a step back here. So, like, this like diamond thing is a perfect example of how set up is this show and how not set up is this show. Like, so the one storyline about this whole 20th wedding anniversary, like they tee it in with like they're at lunch and somebody says, "Oh, there's a tanker over there," and then so that Chris thinks it's about her. Well, I look like a tank. Well, I don't want to have a 20th wedding anniversary because I look like a tank. So like, it's just like it seems so set up that I can't really watch it. It's just kind of boring to me how set up it is. James, would you like to say something? We have a special guest.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Welcome.
James, did you actually watch the show?
I have watched the show.
I'm sorry.
Big one. It's a big one, James. You can't miss the big ones.
You can't miss the big ones. That's what they say. Everyone knows.
All right, Harrison, what do you have to say about how set up this show is?
I mean, there's definitely parts of it that seem like they're set up, and then there's parts of it that seem kind of. I mean, like the moment when Chris Humphries finds out that Kim Kardashian has previously been married seemed like a genuine moment of shock to Chris Humphries. Like, and I'm not sure.
I agree. Yeah.
But he was just like that guy had no idea what he was getting into when he came on this trip. It is pretty apparent. I think that this Chris Humphries storyline is probably the most interesting one, and probably the one where like the most big stuff happens. And then, so obviously, he's like dating her, and he's been taken on this family vacation to like, vet him with the family, and he's like doing this stuff, whatever. He finds out that she's previously been married, wasn't aware of that. There's some weird stuff that happens. But then, kind of inexplicably, in the next time on, at the end, he asks Bruce Jenner for his permission to marry Kim Kardashian. And so I looked like a couple of episodes ahead, and it's basically like 2 episodes from now, the dude's fucking proposing. 3 episodes from now, they're getting married. And like this thing just ramped up so quickly for this guy.
4 episodes, divorce.
Yeah, pretty much. It's what it seems like. It's pretty nuts though.
Just
Yeah.
like Fast and Furious. It just keeps going fast.
Yeah, I mean, that definitely felt the most real and the least set up what's going on here. I'm wondering if they just have like really good producers and like somewhat good acting skills to like set these things up. That seems the most likely scenario.
Well, it's interesting thing about Chris Humphries is that he doesn't seem like he's an actor at all, and his stuff feels real because it doesn't seem like he's capable of playing along with this stuff. And maybe that's like part of how the producer's skill of how they like use him and stuff. But like the that's the part that makes the earring thing seem kind of real. Is he seems genuinely confused about what the heck Kim is going on about.
He's the Jay Cut of this show.
He might be the Jay Cut. He needs to be more dismissive of the show. And then there's another thing that we might bring back to Jay Cut later. But yeah, like this, like Chris Humphries feels real, but that's also why he doesn't fit into the the whole thing.
He does feel real, but he also gives very good confessionals, right? Like, and so I don't know how to balance out him like having the acting skill versus maybe just being very personable in the one-on-one camera.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. That's a good point.
Do you think that they took like a vacation after their vacation? Like this is their filming vacation and then they have their real vacation?
This isn't Jersey Shore, Chris.
Like it's just, this is a work vacay, I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely is.
What's the filming schedule for this, Chris?
We'll get to it.
As you can see, I'm already running out of things to say about this show. So,
I mean, I feel like one of my strongest impressions in coming into this show and just kind of watching it is like, man, this seems like a really nice vacation to be on. Like, I would love to be at this resort. I'd love to be hanging out in Bora Bora. I'd love to be doing some of these activities. I don't know if it's just the pandemic and not really being able to travel, but like, this seems like a great vacation, even with all this bullshit happening.
I mean, the show is let's show off how wealthy I am and go on these baller vacations and wear these baller clothes. Don't you want to be like me? Like that's the essence of the show.
No,
so
definitely.
obviously we all want to be on this vacation.
Great.
Yeah, I was surprised that they only gave like a very passing product placement for the Hilton Bora Bora where they were staying. I would have thought they would have really leaned into that because I'm sure they're getting comped the room and everything else for getting them to stay there.
You think
yeah,
so?
Definitely.
So it worked.
Oh, I mean, I guess they probably got more people to stay there after they went. So I don't think that's a bad investment.
Like, I'm sure the producers called a bunch of different luxury resorts in different parts of the world and were like, hey, we're going to come and film and give you some publicity. What you offering? And then they'll see who kind of had the best offer.
How much do you think those villas on the water cost?
I don't know, a lot.
Depends how nice they are. I've looked into this before because I wanted to go to like the Maldives or somewhere around there, and stay in one of those like water bungalows. It's a pretty wide range. What I imagine where they're staying at, we're looking at like $5,000 to $10,000 a night.
So like a seventh of an earring.
Yeah.
Come on, Kim, stop being so materialistic. Ugh.
So materialistic.
I mean, that's what they kept telling her about the earring thing. The earring thing went on for like 5 minutes. Like, it's either got to go the whole length or it's got to be cut so much. Like, there wasn't anything else to say about it.
But it was the best part of the show. That's what you said, right, Chris?
Yeah,
So they had to stretch it out.
That's what's saying a lot.
I was gonna say, I thought it was pleasant that the show really had a good pace to it. Like we were covering a lot of ground, we saw a lot of people, there were a lot of storylines. Like I think of all the reality shows, like at least this one was really moving. Something happened.
Yeah, like they kept the pace going, and for just jumping into a random episode in a random season. It was very easy to watch, and like you didn't have to really know the characters at play. I give them a lot of credit. Like that takes craft to do in episode like 67 for them.
Like the show was put together really well. I agree. The music was good too. I like the music. Sometimes the music's really bad, so when it's good, I like to shout it out.
Yeah. Like in one sense, a lot was happening, but like these shows in general, like we haven't done a Kardashian show, but we've done these like just follow around someone famous trying to do their life show, and they're super boring because like nothing happens. Like they're not interesting. What's going on? Even though like there's a bunch of different kind of plot points that happen, but it's just not really interesting to kind of sit down and watch someone else be on vacation and not really do anything.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna go look at sharks. Like okay.
I think like nothing serious happens, but that's also kind of weird because like a couple of the things on this episode I think could have been made like bigger deals. Like the one dude who isn't supposed to be drinking and then is drinking, but it's just kind of funny. That kind of could be a serious issue. And then also like what's the mom's name? Chris's like body issues. That's like kind of a serious deal, but it's also presented in sort of like oh man, she won't wear a sarong, mom. Like very strange way.
The tone is so off for those storylines, which makes it even weird. Like that's why it feels so fake. Like if the tone was real, like the only time I felt like the drinking storyline tone felt right was when he kind of came back to like the house or whatever, and like there's some real like disappointed looks going on in there, but then they just shrug it off and see you tomorrow. We're leave it to the Beavers, Kardashians kind of thing going on today. But like they tease it being relatable, and then they just like, we just swallow our emotions and we move on. That's just like the microcosm for this episode. I don't know if this is the microcosm for the whole show, then like, okay, there's like 700 episodes. I don't know how you tease this like, oh, I have these kind of issue and we're just gonna swallow it, move on. This really works. Like, this. Okay.
It's clearly working for them, Chris. I gotta say, it might not work for us, but the empire speaks for itself.
No, I could see like how you'd think this is how you could get some entertainment out of this. I think that it's relatable, and if you just like kind of take a step back and you're already invested in these characters by season 6, episode 11, like presumably you are, like you don't really need it to be like The Godfather. Like you don't need like the best storylines ever. You're just like, we're hanging out with your friends at this point. So like at that point we have like pretty weak because we only watch one episode. Now we're watching some random episode in the middle of like after 6 years of this. Like I don't know. It's just like not a great episode for us to jump into, at least for me to jump into. But I can't say episode 1 through 8 is a good episode for me to jump into either, because I think these people suck and I don't really want to be with them. So that's it.
I do want to take a minute and talk about Scott, because like I said, like Emmy used to watch the show, and I'd kind of get some bits of the show. I'm just like, man, everyone in the show is terrible except for Bruce. Bruce seems like a nice guy stuck surrounded by insane people. When Scott just came off as like such a dick constantly, like this like whole drinking thing, like the tone is not right. You don't feel bad for him. You're just like, this guy's a dick. Then there's this episode, and this was another episode Courtney suggested being a pretty good episode, but like I didn't feel it sort of was true to what the show normally is, where Scott is like has a weekend to himself and decides he needs to go to England and become like a lord. And there's this whole thing of he goes to England and he has this big party and he starts calling himself Lord Disick. And like it sort of becomes like, and we mentioned our old pal Jay Cutler, like from that moment on, he's like in on the joke, and he kind of realizes like this whole thing is stupid and he's going to be like kind of a bit above it. And he actually became like my favorite character in the show. Like, oh, Scott, such a funny guy who knows better than this. And then Courtney broke up with him. So, you know, I feel like that's, you know, he stopped being the pawn he needed to be, and then and was dismissed.
Rob, I have exciting news for you.
He has his own reality show.
Go ahead. Yes.
I haven't seen it. There's some like house flip show, and he's the star. So
it's called Flip It Like Disick.
Yeah.
Is
so
that an upgrade or downgrade?
We need more Kardashian content. We could go back to the Scott Disick with Lord Disick.
James, what are your thoughts on Scott?
Wow, where to begin with Scott? That is, I like how Rob called him a character, because I think that really is, I think, how to describe him best. He seems just like a made-up character. Like he's too much to take in to seem real. But I started out being like, this guy sucks, to put it in Chris terms. But by the end of the episode, I'm like, oh, this guy's just adding a bunch of color to the show. Like he's just the color commentary guy. You know, his jokes are terrible, but you just need something to keep the thing moving. And he delivers. So I kind of came around and was like, I guess this guy's critical to the show.
Drinking Scott, 1,000 times better than non-drinking Scott.
Oh, 100%.
Whether that's good for his life or not, I can't say. But for this show.
Oh, yeah, for entertainment value. Hands down.
Who was the the brother in the show,
Rob.
Rob, he was a dick. I hated him. Noah, what are your thoughts
Who
on
acts
Rob?
like that?
Yeah, he definitely didn't seem that great because he's like really getting buddy with Scott on drinking, and like he knows Scott's got an issue. But what really tipped me over the line on him, it was one of the previews, I think, in the next episode, and just call like one of his sisters a dirty whore. And I'm just like, oh, buddy, you're not doing yourself any favors. And so he lost points for me with that at the end.
Okay.
There's also a pretty good incident where he said that like Scott was wearing like the same shirt as a waiter, like, and he wondered like, oh, why are they handing you a menu? That was also pretty assholeish. Like, why does it even matter?
That was pretty
Why-
good.
Terrible. All right. Before we get to questions, Rob and Noah, can you explain to me what is going on with the recent Kardashians and like the sex change thing? Like, who are these people? I don't understand.
Rob,
can
do you wanna start? I can try to fill in after that.
I don't know how recent this is, but at some point, Bruce decides to undergo I don't know what the right term for it is, but he basically he changed his name to Caitlyn, and he is a transgender woman, and now he's Caitlyn Jenner, and he got his own TV show too, so we could watch that show sometime. And that's pretty much all I know about it. I don't know much else beyond that.
Yeah, I looked
Okay.
into this a little bit because when I was watching the episode, I was wondering, had Greg like really made public, like, you know, he's going to go through this change, and like, are we in the middle of that process, beginning of it? And so this was filmed in 2011. He publicly came out and said like, no, this is who he really is in 2015. And so this is like materially before. I don't know. I don't know is like how well known it was before he made it formal. But it seems like there's a 2020 interview where it became like locked in stone. This is who she is now.
Is she still married to Chris?
No, they divorced in 2013, I think.
Okay. So he was off the show already.
I think she's still like is part of the show. Like it was a mutual breakup. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I don't think getting divorced disqualifies you from the show. I think he probably was in the show less, but he and then she was still a part of the show.
But it's called Keeping with the Kardashians. He's not a Kardashian.
I mean, he wasn't a Kardashian when in this episode he's Bruce Jenner. His name's Jenner. And
Oh.
Kylie and Kendall, who have increased, like you said, they weren't really in this episode. They are now like giant players in this, and their name is Jenner. So like it's Kardashian Jenner empire.
So is Kim still the lead? Do we know?
I think Kim's still the lead, but like one of Kendall or Kylie is a pretty big deal in her own right, and maybe is the actual main person now. I don't know.
Yeah, one of them does like some sort of makeup brand, and they just hit like $1 billion in valuation or something.
Kylie,
insane.
yeah. She got to $1 billion like a year or two ago. It's like she is crushing it with her makeup business.
So isn't this like ending soon? Like, is it the last season or something? Or did I see that somewhere?
No,
Is
Okay.
that true?
No. It is true. Yeah, they're ending like this season.
Yeah, they're gonna all get their own new shows so they can make triple the money.
Oh,
Empire.
All right, ready for questions?
Let's do it.
This is an
please.
interesting question.
Oh wait, James, we got something coming in hot.
I was just curious. So if they're all going to get their own shows, they're going to start their own streaming service.
Ooh, or have an exclusive podcast network on Spotify or something.
Seems
I
like
think
they're
they might-
primed for this.
I think they might be in the Peacock empire. I think they might be given some hot Peacock content.
The Peacocks. All right.
Peacocks.
Let's.
James, I think you can help them
Oh.
launch it.
Oh yeah, this is actually mind blowing.
hot off the presses.
So shockingly, I just got to the Keeping Up with the Kardashians Wikipedia page. I don't know why I didn't look at it earlier. Guess who created this show?
Oh, I saw it.
Yeah.
Ryan Seacrest.
Ryan Seacrest. Like, he just, I don't know how he does what he does. He seems like from like 2000 to 2010, he seemed to have planted like a lot of seeds, like Johnny Appleseed of America, but just like reality TV. And he just seems to have an empire now of Ryan Seacrest babies dominating everything.
That's an odd way to phrase that, Noah. Are these his babies or like his furniture? Like, I feel like, you know.
No. This is definitely a baby thing because this show has grown up and now it's spawning new show babies.
Okay.
I
now,
do
Brian, it's been spawning new show babies forever. Like, there's a whole spin-off season that's not called Keeping with Kardashians about Kim and Chris marriage and divorce in like 3 months.
James, I'm being serious now. You really should go talk to them and see if you can start their own network. Like, if you can make this happen, you're gonna make so much money.
You got to get to that Ryan Seacrest though. He's the purse string here.
James is the new Ryan Seacrest.
Just put it on the Twitter thing. Internet, go. You need a streaming network. Kardashians, boom.
How much do you think people would pay for a Kardashian TV Plus?
Oh, that's interesting.
All the money.
I don't think anyone on this
$70,000.
podcast would sign up.
What if the podcast starts their own streaming network where it's all Kardashian content? If we can lock that deal, we're looking pretty good.
Can we correlate this to the Kanye keyboard and see like how many people are gonna sign up? Because a lot of people signed up for that shit.
Man, I bet this show's gotta be super weird when it's just Kanye instead of Chris Humphries. Like, I haven't seen any recent episodes of this show, but that's gotta be crazy.
Is Kanye on the show?
Yeah, now he is.
Yeah,
I
interesting.
think so.
That's
What
true.
if
We
we
didn't talk about Kanye. Maybe we need to talk about Kanye.
Okay, let's get into this Kanye. Who Kanye West is in the show? I have no idea.
Yeah. So Kim Kardashian and Kanye West are married now, so like Kanye is in the family. So Kanye-
man.
Kanye
That sounds
is-
way better than this episode. Why didn't we watch that episode?
I know.
Kanye West seems fucking nuts.
Yeah, Kanye
Is North on the show? Do we got some Northwest action?
I'm pretty sure North and Saint are on the show.
Back to my question. What if we started to do like a recap pod based on Kim Kardashian, on like Keeping Up with the Kardashians? We just hate on it the whole time. We just barely talk about the show. That'd be kind of fun.
I cannot spend any more of my life on this show.
All right. Let's do questions. On to the questions. This is an interesting one. Who's the worst human being in this show? Or in this episode, I guess. I think you got Rob and Scott are high up there, right?
This episode, it's probably Rob. I feel overall, it's Kris Jenner.
Kris Jenner.
Yeah.
Why? He seems
He's-
like a normal dude.
No.
Chris is the mom.
This is the
Remember
mom.
that, Chris.
I screwed that one up. Sorry.
Wait,
Yeah.
why is the mom the worst?
She's like the evil mastermind of all the drama and weird things they do.
I mean, sure, that could very well be true, but in this particular episode,
In this particular episode, it's not the case.
okay, let's be
He
fair
did
to
say
the
that.
question. Let's
He said Rob, and I agree. I'm gonna go with Rob.
I will also agree.
Yeah, +1 to Rob, but I'm curious, Rob Kitts, how does the mom like become usually the worst character? I didn't realize she played that role.
Which is like, it's what Chris was saying about that the show feels fake and very manipulative with like fake drama and stuff. And it feels like she is the one kind of stirring the pot and doing a lot of that things. Like there's one episode I remember Emmy watched where it's all about, she changed her name to Kris Jenner when she married Bruce, and they've been married for, that was probably before, there was 20 years. And she's like, I should probably change my name back to Kris Kardashian. And he's like, what? And it's a whole plot episode and about how like this is like out of nowhere and he feels bad about it. Then she's like, yeah, you're right. I'll just keep my name Kris Jenner. And it's like, it just feels so like weird and forced. And that's like, she's doing shit like that all the time.
That's what the show is, Rob. That's exactly it. Fake drama. They resolve with a shrug. and they move
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and Chris, you don't like that. Chris Lorenz doesn't like that, and Chris Jenner is the mastermind of that.
I mean, some people like it.
Yeah.
I guess that's all right. Is this the apex downgrade or upgrade to the host of the show, which I guess would be just every character on the show? I don't really know if we could skip this one, I guess.
I mean, I think it's the apex for every person on the show.
Is it? You think that Kim isn't gonna go like one up this show when she like has her own show?
She's had multiple other own shows. This is still like the OG show that's like made her millions.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think the only one that maybe this is not their apex is Kylie, because she started $1 billion business, which is incredible.
But Rob, you mentioned earlier that what's his name got his own show.
Lord Disick.
Like having your own show, that seems better than being in this show.
Yeah,
probably
maybe.
not.
You could argue Lord Disick upgraded by getting his own show.
But it's not like it's not a house flip show. That's like nothing.
Like, I'm sure he's more well known for this show than that show.
Like I could get a house flip show. Like, just sign me up.
I'd watch it.
Hey, Chris, can we put some money on the line here? Chris having a house flip show, let's say by the end of 2021.
No, no money. All right. What's the most baffling / cringeworthy moment? Brian, I know you're good at these, so what do you got? You're muted.
This is very tough. I think it's the tanker. The tanker incident was just too nuts.
Absolutely.
Didn't make any sense.
Like, why would you ever think that like anybody's talking? Where like the subject is boats, and then you just flip it around onto yourself? Like, are you self-deluded? Like, what's going on there?
Have you ever heard anyone call anyone a tanker? That's not like a thing.
It's not. Maybe it's a thing after this episode, though.
Could be.
I hope so. It's my new insult.
You're such a tanker, Brian. Look at that tanker over there. Obviously, I'm referring to Brian. Obviously.
Tanker's crushing it.
I think my most cringeworthy moment is when Kim's going shopping with her mom to, try and pick out the clothes for this thing that she doesn't want to do. And Kim is just so completely oblivious and insensitive towards her mom's body issues and like what's happening. It is very, very cringy. Like it's pretty brutal.
Yeah, the way they cut that scene too, where she keeps asking the mom, she's like, oh wait, do these flowers look good in my hair? They really made that like a perfect scene.
Oh, yeah, and like there's like they're kind of splicing it in with like the older pictures of the mom and stuff like that. Like they definitely but yeah, Kim was not looking good in that one.
Rob, what do you got for me? You have anything?
I don't know if I have anything we didn't already mention. Like those are the kind of key cringeworthy moments.
I mean, I want to raise up when her boyfriend of a year, Chris Humphries, doesn't actually realize she was married for 4 years. That was kind of a cringy, like, what?
Is is that something at that point in time he could have found out with a Google or like by looking at her Wikipedia page or something? He just did zero homework. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I got some minor minutiae I'd like to go over. So let's do some of those. So at some point, Rob and Scott steal a bike or take a bike or I don't know how they get this bike. So I'm going to say they stole it and they just like run it into the water and they just like leave it there. And just like what world do they live in? This is not good. Rob, you have a minor minutia you want to share?
I mean, maybe this is like slightly cringeworthy. There's a moment where Kim decides Chris and Chris need to get to know each other better. So they go to brunch and then she just leaves. And Chris Humphries is like, wait, what are you doing? Where are you going? She's like, I think you should talk to my mom. See ya. Like such a bizarre, contrived for TV plan. And I kind of got a kick out of it.
Also, at that meeting, the mom says to Chris, "You're a big boy." like with a wink.
Yeah.
It was really, really awkward.
Scott really enjoyed that.
Probably the only awkward moment in the show because Chris is the only one capable of being awkward. Everyone else is just kind of in this like kind of mini acting mode. There's a couple other things. When the husband goes to Chris and is like, "You look great, and if you need help losing weight, I'll help you." And then Chris tells him, "Oh, you know what? If I ever get a nip tuck, you can hold my hand because she's not losing weight the right way." That's her answer to her body issues.
I mean, that's not a terrible way. Like, if you can do it, like, not a bad option.
It's the LA Nouveau Riche way.
All right. All right. What are the drinking rules for this show? Brian, what do you got for me? You got any drinking rules?
Definitely the crying one. Like, there's a lot of people crying.
Well, what's the rule, Brian? No one else read
Drink.
the links.
Oh, drink if you cry, or if you see somebody crying.
I think anytime you see like anyone's ass, like just like flat out is the like focus of the camera, take a drink. That happens a lot.
How about take a shot every time Chris Humphries throws someone in the water? Happens many times in this episode.
Or tip somebody into the water.
I have a cringy drinking rule. Every time they talk about Scotch drinking, take a drink.
How about every time Scott drinks, drink?
How about anyone's drinking?
No, it's drinks or talks about how he shouldn't be drinking. I think that's the,
Annabeth, do you have one?
I was also gonna say every time that boy throws people in the water because I think it was 4 different people in this episode.
It averages out, you know. It's only like one an episode.
We didn't talk about how there was an incident where it seemed at first that he'd thrown someone to the sharks.
Oh yeah.
Because he throws like Robin, or I think it was, and then everybody's like, "Oh my God, there's a shark!" And then there is a shark, and it's not clear for a few moments if that shark's gonna hurt anyone because the driver of the boat has just been telling them about how he got like 32 stitches from a shark bite. And then it cuts to like Kim doing a testimonial, and she was like, "Everyone's overreacting."
Good impression.
James,
I got one. I
you
thought
got
of a
one?
drinking rule. Every time there's a shot of one of the people on the show looking at themselves in a mirror, drink while they look.
There you go. That's a good one. Annabeth, about that moment, I highly doubt there was a shark. I just can't believe it.
Didn't we saw a bunch of sharks?
We saw shots of shark, but did we see shots of them and a shark at the same time? No.
Well, I mean, Kim then talks about how like they brought them to a shark area to go swim with sharks, so it must be safe because it's like a tourist attraction.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
I thought she was swimming with them.
It was just
I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's a percentage that I think that it is real, and there's a percentage you can think that it's real, and we can agree to disagree. But I don't know.
I think that's fair. I think they were like human attacky sharks. I thought they were like little tiny sharks that don't hurt people.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say like, there's no way they're risking their star like going into shark-infested waters.
You
Like, they
really
gotta
think?
be-
You think is that what's his name is a star? Bob.
I don't care about
Rob.
him. I was talking about Kim. Like, you don't want
Well,
Kim
Kim
to
didn't.
hear that.
Kim didn't go in the water with the sharks, did she?
no, yeah. She was like snorkeling in that water like directly after that happened.
Oh, okay.
But most
She just
important-
wasn't thrown in.
Yeah.
Brian, that's why you get the insurance.
The insurance for
They
the
brought up
star?
the insurance so much on the show, it was obvious that all of these people are insured heavily.
Is insurance
So,
a
like,
drinking rule?
Doesn't matter.
But like,
How
when
much
they get
does
eaten and
shark
the show's
insurance
over.
cost?
Shark insurance. Probably pretty cheap. What do you think the production schedule of this show is? Rob, give it to me.
Like this episode was filmed over like a day or two, right? Like they must just like bust out a season in like 2 or 3 weeks and film like 3 seasons a year. I don't know.
So they're in Bora Bora, right? Like, how
Yeah.
long do you think they're in Bora Bora? Like, they're not in Bora Bora for like a day or two.
I mean, they're there for a week.
I'd say you film this in like 3-4 days, and then the rest of Bora Bora is like real vacation.
Real vacation. Nothing's more real than reality TV, Chris.
Yeah, sure. Everyone loves to be filmed their whole vacation and has to be on the whole time.
I think, except for maybe Bruce Jenner, everyone on this show really does love to be filmed their whole vacation. And Chris Humphries. I'm not sure Chris Humphries wants to be filmed his whole vacation, but all the Kardashians and Lord Disick, they love it.
Harrison, what do you think? What do you think the production schedule was?
I mean, I think it's pretty clear that this episode takes place over the course of like 2 days. Like, I think that they show the days. I mean, there's one night in there, and then it ends in the next night with Scott having to go and confess that he's been drinking to his baby's mom.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like you filmed a whole season over like 3 months, though. Like,
I really have no concept of like how the season is. Like, is it like a continuous stretch of time? Is it like they check in with the Kardashians at different points throughout the year? Like, I just don't really know what the situation is.
how do you not know? This is our 200th episode. All right. So, who inspired the show? Who's the show's mommies and daddies?
I mean, this
Paris Hilton show.
Well,
Yeah.
didn't we already talk about the daddy and his babies?
Well, that he wasn't a show. I mean,
No.
It-
Was American Idol.
No.
oh, Ryan Seacrest. This has like no American Idol in it though.
No, this is him. So again, going into minutia, and I know there's nothing intent to your question, but so Ryan Seacrest started his own production company. He was inspired by the Osbournes, and he kind of just knew the Kardashians. He's like, these folks seem interesting. Went by to-
This is definitely just the Osbournes with different people for sure.
Yeah, so that's where he was inspired. But they did announce they were doing a Kardashian show when they said they were going to wrap up The Simple Life. So definitely in that universe.
Oh, way to go, Max. I think you really nailed on the head on that one. All right, on to our last and favorite question. We do ratings. We do a stack ranking system where we do top, middle, bottom, where we rank this against other reality shows. And some people even do stack rankings in their stack rankings. So be prepared for that. Rob, why don't you start us off?
I gotta put this in the bottom third. I don't like these kind of shows. I know more about this show because I've probably seen like 12 or so episodes total over, maybe more, of like seeing bits and pieces of them. And like I do have a soft spot for Lord Disick. He's kind of fun. He grows on me over time. But overall, this is just like, I was halfway through this episode, I was kind of not even really paying attention to what's going on anymore, and I don't think I missed any real plot. So it's not that interesting.
Max, what do you got for us?
I'm gonna say bottom third, middle of the bottom. Yeah, I just couldn't pay attention after the halfway point. I almost fell asleep.
You're almost falling asleep right now. All right.
I'm so sleepy, dude.
Well, if Max disappears, he's asleep. James, what do you got for us?
Man, interesting. I do agree. By the end of the show, I was definitely finding myself kind of zoning in, zoning out a bit. But having said that, the show is very good at what it is. Like you can't knock this show for anything there. Production is through the roof. Music is great. Visuals are great. Location was fun in this particular episode. People are like characters, and if you kind of look at them as characters, the show is an entertaining light walk. So I'm gonna say right in the middle, but top of the middle, because it's very good at what the show is.
Shock. Noah, what do you got for us?
I have very similar sentiments as James, and I usually don't like these types of shows at all. But I found this really entertaining. So shockingly, I'm actually going to notch it one above James, putting it into the top, but the bottom of the top because there is better content out there. But yeah, putting it in the top.
Noah, this is another sunset moment for you.
Selling sunset.
I might have to kick you. Anyway, Harrison, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I mean, this show definitely an easy watch. Like I didn't find it boring or like painful to watch like a lot of the shows that are kind of in the bottom. Like I didn't think it was a Real Housewives of New Jersey. Like I mean, you know, I definitely don't kind of generally like these kinds of shows that much, but I think it's probably like the best one of these kinds of shows that I've seen. So I think that that's going to let it just creep up into the middle. And yeah, you know, it's definitely not offensive. Maybe if it was on the background. All right.
You weren't there when we did, what was that NFL announcer guy?
The Bradshaw bunch.
The Bradshaw. I thought Bradshaw was fun.
Ooh.
That just as a counterpoint. Annabeth, what do you got for us?
I think this show is like decent for what it is. I don't think I need to like go out and watch more of it, but it's really quick paced. It's very light. It's kind of funny. There's like some goofy stuff that happens. So I think it's like the bottom of the middle.
Okay. Brian, what do you got for us?
I put top of the bottom. Like it's just a real nothing burger. I definitely, like Rob said, he almost tuned out. I definitely tuned out and just like started looking at other stuff and came back and it felt like nothing had happened.
All right. I'm last. So I'm going to go bottom third. I hate these people. They suck. Storylines are fake as fuck. It's not real. I don't care about them. And I'm sad that this goes on for 50 seasons and $18 billion. So
Don't worry, it's ending and spawning new babies.
that's it. That's our discussion of keeping up with the Kardashians. And now we're on to the most important part of the show, where Rob gives the best shout out of the week with the update to the Masked Singer, obviously.
That's right. So I missed last week, but there's only been one Masked Singer because apparently something called the World Series, and Fox showed that instead of the Masked Singer one week.
Weird.
But yeah, so we got a new batch of singers, and the lips were eliminated, and the lips was talk show host Wendy Williams. I was like, whatever.
Who?
Question: did the lips actually move in sync with the singing?
Not at all. And she also sat down during her song because apparently the lips were heavy or something, and she had trouble like moving around, so she sat down. But
yeah, that's
both
just you're gonna tip over.
2 of the 4 judges guessed Wendy Williams, so they seem like they're all buds, so they knew that. Yeah, Annabeth sold up a photo of the lips, so that is correct.
Those are big lips.
Those are some huge lips. They're
Yeah,
so
like-
much bigger than I could have imagined.
So big.
So, Rob, we talked about this a little bit last season, where like people got kicked off when they were good singers and they left the bad singers on. Is that still happening?
So it's interesting. So the first couple, so they divided them into 3 groups again this season, and for some reason they waited 5 episodes to show group 3. They focused on just the groups 1 and 2 to start, and groups 1 and 2 were all surprisingly good. Like there weren't there weren't that many they were all like actually decent. Group 3 was not that great. All of them in group 3 were a little questionable, and so like Wendy Williams got kicked off, and that seemed like the right choice. But like I think a bunch of the ones in group 3 were not as good as group 1 and 2. Yeah, I haven't had any real ones where I feel like they're kicking off the wrong person, and also haven't been any flagrant where they're giving dancers credit to go through when they're clearly not good singers like last season. So it's been better on that front, but it's also seemed more equitable.
Maybe
I do
this-
also have a prediction.
Oh,
So we talked when we watched Can You See My Voice about the fact that Nick Lachey was on that. And I was like, Nick Lachey seems like he's prime Masked Singer contender of like D-list in the reality show world, former singer and stuff. So I do not have currently anyone I think is Nick Lachey, but Nick Lachey was married to Jessica Simpson. And I think the seahorse is Jessica Simpson.
Has Jessica Simpson fell this far? Like,
oh, she absolutely has.
Okay.
But the thing is, like, I said to Emmy, like, there were some clues, and it was like, it seems like it's Jessica Simpson, but the seahorse is a very form-fitting costume, and I thought Jessica Simpson had filled herself out a little bit, and I said to like, I don't think that's the right shape for Jessica Simpson anymore, and Emmy says, no, she's lost some weight, and so that bodes for the seahorse is Jessica Simpson. So we'll see.
Does Emmy guess with you while you're watching? Okay.
We're definitely guessing.
All right. Just make sure that you guys are still like, I guess the point of the show would be fun if you guessed. If you didn't guess it, I don't get it. Do you have any other shout outs? Do we want to say anything about episode 200? Like, it's episode 200. Like,
200.
Yay.
So many. That's a lot of numbers. There's 2 zeros and a 2
that's so
there.
many reality shows. We've seen reality shows no one's ever seen. Some sort of You the Jury. No one's seen that show. We watched Utopia, episode 1, numero 1. No one's seen that show. The show's gone.
That shit. It's so long ago. And
Utopia reference drink.
Yeah, so long ago. That like so many shows that didn't go anywhere. Those are the shining moments. I think the You the Jury is almost my favorite. Just.
I mean, You the Jury's in our Hall of Fame. It won the worst of the season.
I wonder if you could find it on YouTube.
All evidence that show's been destroyed except our podcast. Those are the only evidence that show.
We're gonna get a cease and desist soon. Get rid of that.
Yeah.
Don't give in.
Yo, at like what point can we start like our own Hall of Fame? Like make it like really official, you know, like some kind of John Taffer kind of move.
I mean, we could put up a website tomorrow. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that's really in our wheelhouse at this point.
yeah, and then we could point people to the pot.
Yeah. We've got 4 season winners and 4 season losers for the Hall of Fame. That seems like a good number.
There are so many of these shows I can't believe. Like, there's just an endless supply of trash. Like, it just keeps coming.
I saw a new reality show on HBO Max. So, like, you know, that's a whole other streaming network we haven't even done yet.
What's the show called?
It's it's a standard competition show around, I don't know what, I forget. It's
Great pitch, Chris. Great
What
pitch.
is the hell? It's a
I'm
hell of a
just
sell.
like, I'm just telling you, it's a Netflix nothing burger again. So I don't know if we'll watch it. Maybe we will. I don't know.
I gotta say, as we get to episode 200, every show feels like a show we've seen before. Is definitely getting stronger and stronger.
But like we also try to bring in like newer shows that like are coming up, and they all feel like just derivative bullshit. Like why? Why
I mean, the standard competition show where it's just you get 10 people together and you whittle it down to like one. Like, there's definitely good versions and bad versions, and Netflix makes all bad versions. So
You
we
want to
don't.
watch people glass blowing?
No one liked the glass blowing show.
What about Terrace House?
Netflix doesn't make that show.
Oh,
And that's
Yes,
not
it
a
did,
standard
though.
competition show. That's just people hanging out in a house with a podcast.
We liked Final Table. That was a Netflix show.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I liked the Lego show, which was like standard competition, but
That's
like,
not a Netflix show. We're talking about Netflix competition shows, Chris.
oh, well, I'm over it.
We're on the Chris train.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. You know, we're still going. Get season 5 still coming up to pick another one for the Hall of Fame. I feel like it is the Hall of Fame. When you're the number 1 or you're the number 5 or you're the worst, you're in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. We're halfway through season 5. We got some good contenders for best and worst.
More contenders for worst, I think. But
Always.
We should maybe also rank the best and worst of like each season. Get like a
Well,
five.
we have
a
the
five.
best of the best, right? Rob, what's the current best of the best?
The current best of the best. Did we decide? Did I think we still say Married at First Sight was our favorite one.
I think so. I was really disappointed when it wasn't Survivor.
Or it might have
That's
been
all I
the
remember.
challenge. We might have said the challenge. Took it
Yeah,
out.
we're definitely gonna have to publish our Mount Rushmore of reality shows. It's gonna have to happen.
Deadliest Catch was very high as well.
But the four in the Hall of Fame are Married at First Sight, The Challenge. Actually, I don't. Was Shark Tank the third one? Actually, I need to look it up now. Now I'm forgetting what we decided.
What a good pitch, Rob. What a
Yeah.
good pitch.
There's no boat. You're telling me there was no boat on this Mount Rushmore of podcast shows we've done?
I don't
Come
think
on.
so.
All new episodes, season 8 of Below Deck. Let's go.
Wasn't it Survivor?
Chris, you keep trying to make Survivor happen. Stop trying to make Survivor
It
happen.
wasn't Survivor.
We all have our selling
Okay,
sunset.
we get it.
You know?
It was Survivor, wasn't it? Well, the lowest ones were The Apprentice, Celebrity Apprentice, Crisley Knows Best.
You, the jury, which we
You, the-
mentioned.
I don't, was it
And
really you,
I
the
get
jury?
that a lot. Those are our Hall of Fame bottom ones.
What about Real Housewives in New Jersey? That's definitely a Hall of Fame bottom one.
It is not in
No,
the Hall of
Hall of
Fame
Fame.
because it was season 1, and the Celebrity
Celebrity,
Apprentice is our
Celebrity
worst
Apprentice.
from season 1.
We need to extend. There's gonna have to be multiple.
That's why I think that we have to do the top 4, top 5, because across all of them, because we can't.
Well, we
just-
can't agree on a top 4, top 5.
I'm just saying. I think the number 2 from from year 1 might be in there. I don't know. Who knows?
Here's the real thing. We need to do the Top Gear like complete stack ranking, all 200 in stack ranked order.
Oh, I don't think
Just
so.
run some data analytics on this. We have the data.
I don't.
That's
think
some
so.
data analytics.
The other Hall of Fame one I was forgetting was Jersey Shore Family Vacation.
I knew there was something that
Oh.
beat Survivor, and that's what did it.
That's what did it.
Yeah, that was good. I don't know. I feel weird about going back and like relitigating. Like, I think of it as like if you were to go redo the Oscars from like 1990 with your eyes of today, you might not choose the same like Best Picture, Best Actor.
Yeah, that's someone that would say that put Selling Sunset in their top third.
Hey, you got Survivor. James got Below Deck. We all got something.
It's true. And to be
Yeah,
fair,
tell
Noah,
us about the
I'm
new
not
season
just-
then, Noah. Tell us about season 3.
I hate it. I tried season 2, episode 1. I couldn't get through it.
Oh
So,
no!
I let the joke go on. I play into it, but I actually don't like it.
Yeah, we know. That's why I said you're trying to take it back.
Oh, I'm just trying to own up to our own dirty little passion.
So wait, Below Deck is back, James?
Oh, you know it. The OG Below Deck, brand new season 8, I believe.
Is this COVID season or pre-COVID?
Here's a fun thing. There is no mention of COVID whatsoever. They're just new season. No
It's
idea.
probably- a lot of these shows are filmed a year
Yeah.
in advance.
Yeah, like it wouldn't surprise me. Unclear when they filmed it.
All right, let's continue our shout outs. James, do you have any other shout outs, or is Below Deck your shout out?
That's gonna be the shout out of the week. This one.
Harrison, what do you got for us? Give us your shout out.
New season of The Amazing Race is on right now. One of the teams featuring former Carolina Panthers player D'Angelo Williams, very good. And yeah, I'm always down for an Amazing Race. And they make it very clear in this show it is pre-pandemic, et cetera, et cetera. So.
Annabeth, got your shout out of the week?
Well, I was also going to say Amazing Race. I also want to mention I tried to watch another reality show, but have been unable to find it online anywhere, and it is The Mole 2. It does not exist on the internet anymore.
Is
and
this
it's
the Mole season 2 or the Mole 2 season
The Mole
1?
season 2. Season 2. I desperately want to watch it because I've been seeing some news lately. I've been seeing Anderson's face, but his most famous work has been taken down.
Rob, you don't have the DVD of season 2?
I only have season 1 on DVD.
I can't even buy season 2 on DVD on Amazon. Amazon does not have it.
What
Rough.
about the torrents?
Ooh, we haven't
I
delved
haven't
into
gone there
that
yet.
yet.
I think you need to go in there. Like, if they don't want you to watch it, though, this is really juicy. We need you to come report back.
What happened in
What
that?
did the mole know? Why? Yeah.
Isn't there two moles?
So
Spoilers!
there's like 4 seasons of The Mole. 2 are hosted by Anderson Cooper, and 2 are, I think, celebrity seasons maybe.
There's actually a 5th season, but
Fifth
yeah,
season?
there's 2 Anderson Cooper seasons, 2 celebrity seasons, and then a weird 5th season later.
Okay.
If I could have one wish for our 200th episode, it would be that after Anderson Cooper is done covering this election, he's able to exit the news business and go back to his true calling as the host of The Mole, season 6.
What if we started our own streaming network that just gets all the rights to all these old reality shows? I feel like there's a market. We obviously want to watch it, so
Yeah,
That's right.
buy 'em up.
Where can we get that funding? Is that like who put this on at gmail.com? You can send us money there, I think, and we'll start acquiring
check
shows.
check our Patreon.
Venmo us at Who Put This On.
Only fans.
Brian, what's your shout out of the week?
It's not. I mean, I just started The Mandalorian, which I've also been hearing like good stuff about season 2, and like season 1 is already pretty good, so it's gonna be a fast watch.
Yeah, it's good. Highly recommend. Max, you got a shout out this week? Noah,
No.
you got a shout out this week? I watched Creep Show on Shudder. It was really good.
That's like a crazy setup. That just, I don't know. Something sounds off there, Chris. But
Creep
please tell
Show?
me.
Creep
Just
Show? It's
something about just you gave
I
me
watched
this mental
Creep
picture. Creep
It has
Show,
nothing to
Shudder.
do with going to strip clubs, James.
It's just like what's the Shudder? I don't know. I haven't kept up.
Shudder is a horror streaming network
That doesn't sound like it's for me.
where they have a bunch of horror stuff. And this is like a anthology 20-30 minute horror shorts, and they were really good. They were really engaging and really like compelling, and the special effects were great. Highly recommend.
Chris, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Are you a fan of horror specifically around the Halloween season, specifically around the fall, or just like an all-around horror fan?
I am a fan, but it's not something I usually put on. So I like got Shudder for a month to watch The Host, which was a movie filmed during quarantine where everyone's like in a Zoom call. And it was really good. And I put a couple other things on my list. So I'll probably do a month and then let it go. It's, so I'm like semi-fan, but it's not like my favorite thing to watch. So I don't tend to watch it that much. There you are. There you have it. Episode 200. Well, you can find us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. You can email us questions and suggestions at whothison@gmail.com. And we'll see you guys next time.
Is there a president yet?
No.